oh, looks like some cuts where I made fixes didn't make it in time, and they aren't even used. If you have no idea who this is, let me enlighten you for a second. This is a very well-known and prominent animator in the anime industry that has went on to make a lot of beautiful animation sequences over the years, for way over a decade, and here is a brief rundown of what some stuff that Kenichiro has worked on. He's worked on Imanchu, Angels of Death, Railgun, Code Geass, Date Alive, Eden Zero, Flying Witch, Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, Food Wars, Golden Time, that's a blast from the past. Is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? Little Busters, Konosuba, Love Stage, One Punch Man's OVAs, One Punch Man Season 2, One Punch Man Season 3, Prison School's OVAs, Prison School's TV series. He's worked on Shimoneta, he's worked on UQ Holder, and he's worked on Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's very obvious that Kenichiro is a very well-known and talented animator that has made countless beautiful sequences over the years that he's been working on anime. So when you see him working on something like One Punch Man Season 3, you have to scratch your head and wonder, what's going on? Is the production truly that bad to where you have someone that is legitimately a good animator that is not even able to flex his skills because of the time crunch and the lack of quality control? And the answer to this is very obvious. Yes, that's what's going on. And I feel like the most damning thing about this entire situation is definitely his public statement right here. It's very brief, very few words. He doesn't say what anime it is, but it's very obvious what anime it's about and what he's implying here, because, you know, Kenichiro has already worked on a few episodes of One Punch Man Season 3, and some of the best looking sequences of Season 3 is definitely from him. But obviously, it's very clear that he didn't have enough time to cook, and quality control is literally non-existent. And this comment more or less is a comment to that quality control and the lack of time to be able to fix problems with the said anime, in terms of, like, maybe there's mistakes with added fingers, maybe there is just mess-ups with PNGs or whatever. It's very clear that this statement is more or less condemning the lack of time to polish One Punch Man Season 3. Now, it's a no-brainer that One Punch Man Season 3 is in a very bad state. You don't need to be like a veteran in the anime and manga industry or culture or whatever to understand that the production of One Punch Man Season 3 is in a state of hell. It's a hellscape. It's not good. It is on fire, it's not okay, and every single minute that the series is allowed to continue to release an episode without a delay is not just disrespectful to the fans, it's disrespectful to the animators, the director, the studio, like for instance JC staff, it's disrespectful to Warren, it's disrespectful to Murata. Every single moment that the production committee and Bandai Namco does not delay this production, it is doing a massive disservice to everyone involved, making everyone look like absolute dog shit, and it's just causing too much heat that honestly it's just like, at this point, stop the anime. Like, it's one of those rare times where I feel like the anime should just be canceled and just cut your losses, because it's causing way too much damage, not just to the community, to the animators, to the studio, but honestly to the brand as well. Like, people are becoming very disassociated to One Punch Man and not even wanting to talk about it anymore because of how bad Season 3 has been. And when you have an animator that is very well known in the industry making a statement like this, it really kind of gives you a peek behind the curtain on just how little time they actually have to work on the series. So let's get right into that one. So, for those that remember, about a week ago, there was a reveal that there was a brief frame that showcased the date of when they were working on the episode, the latest episode of One Punch Man. I made a full video talking about it. Basically, it revealed they were working on the latest episode within the very week of it airing. And that was just in the middle of the episode. So for all we knew at that time is that they were potentially working on the episode days or even hours before they had to hand over the actual finished episode to the broadcasting companies and the streaming services to be able to share with the entire world. So this meant that when they finally handed over the episode, there was not enough time to quality control an episode, to be able to fix problems, additional fingers, you get the point. It really gave us a peek that the state of it is not good. Like, they are actually just working by the skin of their teeth. They are barely able to get these episodes finished before it actually airs. And the point is that it's impressive that the production hasn't just crashed and burned to the point where they're not even able to get the episode out. And I feel like this is kind of inherently a hint at a lot of things going on behind the scenes, and I will talk about that in just a second. But the point of the matter is that Kenichiro making this comment says one thing. It says that there really is not enough time to quality control. That they're not potentially getting the episode done within days of it airing, they're probably getting it done within the day or even hours before it actually airs. Because the fact that this individual that is very well known and makes beautiful sequences had certain cuts and fixes that he wanted to add to the episode that was not added, and he was shocked they weren't even used, I think says enough that there is a lack of communication because people are scrambling trying to finish their work as quick as possible, and they're not able to properly communicate what's going on and be able to have the scenes, like, you know, kind of transition to the next properly. Like, there's a lot of transition problems as well within the anime, cutting to one scene to the next, and I feel like this is another kind of example of that. We're getting a peek of why stuff like this is happening, is because there is not enough time for that quality control. Now, this has been very obvious, I know, but I feel like this is just 100% clarity and clarification to what really is going on when they can't even use this man's actual animation sequences to make the episode look better because there isn't enough time. So fundamentally, getting down into the brass tacks of it and what this actually means for the grand scheme of things, One Punch Man Season 3 is cooked. And yes, we know it's cooked. But it's more cooked than I think a lot of people realize. And I want to really take a few moments to talk about that, because yesterday I made a video really just discussing the animation errors and stuff. But I want to talk about how it's very obvious what's going on with JC staff and the animators working on it, or whoever decided this. They have no intention of either making a Season 4 or any continuation of One Punch Man ever again, unless it gets some form of remake. And the reason why I'm saying this is because of one big thing here, which is this. So, yesterday, the content that was adapted was content that was retconned. Now, for those that need clarification here, basically, throughout this arc in the manga, Murata was writing the manga, and there was moments to where he was like, I don't like the direction where the story is going, so he completely retconned those chapters and redrew those chapters again, taking the story down a different direction. So basically, the content that was covered in yesterday's episode was content that is no longer canon. It's not canon content. And so the story theoretically cannot progress because it's content that's not canon, it's been retconned, and the story takes a completely different direction. But the fact that JC staff animated this said content basically implies that they are not trying to follow the canon content anymore. They most likely want to wrap up the season and kind of kill the anime to the point to where there is no potential possibility for a follow-up season, which means that it would inherently force a remake of some kind. That's what it seems like at this case, because with some of these things that are continuously adding up, these changes and using retcon content, it's making the story muddy, and there is not a very simple solution of fixing these inherent issues that's ongoing without just changing fundamentally the entire story of One Punch Man. And this is a problem that is just not easily corrected. People might say, oh, it's just a minor character, or it's just Fubuki, it's not Saitama, it's not Genos, but the point is these problems add up into a butterfly effect, a domino effect that gets worse and magnified if they continue to adapt this said content. So what I'm getting at is that it's very clear the intention of One Punch Man Season 3. I feel like, I don't know who decided this situation, but it's clear that there is no intention of continuing the series whatsoever with what they've been doing, with how they are removing foreshadowing, how they're using retcon content, how the adaptation's been. It feels like more or less this is just like, it's over. They have no intention of ever using the product ever again. And like I said, I don't know who made this decision. I don't know if this is JC staff that decided this, the director decided it, or if there's a miscommunication with like the outsourcing company that worked on yesterday's episode. I have no idea. I don't. The point is, though, is that with the content, there's probably not going to be a Season 4. And if there is a Season 4, it's going to be a mixture of canon and non-canon content that's going to be super confusing, because throughout all the way up to, like, the main fight, like Garo's fight, for instance, I'm trying not to spoil here, it is retconned. And so they could theoretically adapt a pretty good, decent chunk of stuff to get into maybe a potential Season 4, but not enough content to, conclude it. It will be anime original. So the state here is not good. It's in a very, very bad state. And like I said, this is the elephant in the room. This is like completely different from just talking about animation and art quality and like actual press for time of production. Hell, just the way it's being adapted. The story now is also taking a hit. And I think that is a problem. So even if you wanted to disregard the art and animation, like let's say you're an avid One Punch Man fan, you love One Punch Man, you will overlook this horrendous product of how it's been, but you love the story. Well, they're not even doing that good now. The story is going a completely different direction, and now, if you enjoy One Punch Man content, you're not really even getting that. You're not even getting the story. So, yeah, every single avenue has just come crashing down. And as I said, I'm just surprised this product has not been delayed. It is actually insane to me that they have not delayed this, and it makes me believe that the reason why it's not being delayed is for two reasons. A, the people at the top, they just don't care for the product. It's just a throwaway, either tax write-off or whatever. Or they just don't have any hope or faith that One Punch Man will ever do a good. So they're like, just do it low quality. It's fine. People eat it up. And yeah, one or the other. That's obviously going on. But I'll leave it at that. I just thought this stuff was very fascinating. I thought that just seeing the entire direction of One Punch Man's going, it's crashing and burning. There's really no saving this series at this point. And like every single moment that this continues to exist, it's just complete brand damage, and damage not just to One Punch Man and Murata, but fans, directors, animators, everyone involved, honestly. It's just making everyone look terrible. And it's bad. It's not a good look. And I feel like the people on top really should face responsibility for this. Like, the Bandai or production committee or whatever, they 100% really should make a public statement or be forced to make a statement because of this. Because what they've done to these poor animators and these teams and everybody involved is not good. It's making them take so much flack and everything. And it just... I don't know how, like, Murata and, like, One could be fine with something like this. I just don't. Because it just, there's so much bad here. It's so bad. And it's crazy to me. I'll leave it at that, though. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. You know, leave a like, helps with the video. Leave a comment on the video, helps with the algorithm. But, Chibi out.